Hello everyone, it's Akari, one of the biggest Sonic nerds you'll probably meet. At least that's what plenty of people have told me. I swear I am working on other non-Sonic related videos. I promise that there is more on the brain than the blue blur, I swear. But on that note, guess what? Today I bring you yet another Sonic video. Listen man, I can quit whenever I want, but that's the thing, I don't want to at the moment. And it seems that you guys don't want me to either, because this one was a very requested video. And what am I talking about today? Well, you read the title. I am actually showing you my full process on drawing Sonic the Hedgehog from start to finish. But before we start, have you subscribed? Like, we're diddly darn close to 2K and I'm really excited about that. Like, you can't really fit 2K people in a room. What the heck, that's a lot of people. So pretty please subscribe for more wacky shenanigans from the channel. Either way, on to the video. First off, I think it's important to start with a concise idea on the pose you want to draw, because that's usually what takes plenty of time for me, scrolling through Pinterest, looking for inspiration on a pose. But for this drawing, I'm actually just gonna use the standard Sonic pose, you know, the one with the finger up. We start with a circle for the head and a tinier circle, that is the chest, at least the upper part of the chest. But for his torso, I like to think of it as a bean shape. Which is funny, because the bean shape is actually mirrored a lot throughout his design. And from said bean shape, I pull two lines to indicate the legs, and then two triangles to indicate the shoes, which are, you know, one of the most iconic parts of the Sonic design. And you know, on the upper torso, I pull out his arms and his hands, but we'll focus on that a bit later. One thing to note about the arms and legs is that they start very thin at the torso, and when they arrive at the hands or the shoes, they get a bit thicker, because they balance out the design nicely. Let's go back to the head, right? So I start with a rough outline of where the muzzle is going to be, and of course add his nose and tiny bit of his smile, just for reference. And then I draw his mono eye, which is the hardest part of the design in my opinion. I like to think about it as two spheres or circles for him, just for him, because the eyes vary on each Sonic character and they're a bit distinct. And then add two triangles for his ears right above his eyes. Now, if you know anything about drawing Sonic, is the thing that the quills are the most infuriating part of it. Let's just say drawing curved lines is not easy. But one thing to note about these is that the top one is usually the shortest one and the bottom one is the longest one. Just something to keep in mind if you want to draw something more on model than fanon. But yeah, you get the point. And this rule doesn't apply to all Sonic designs, just I think the most current one. But yeah, you get it. Just don't be afraid to erase, you got this man. And to finish off this boy, I just add like his brows. I like to call them the brow bones because they are sometimes very expressive. And I add his pupils. And with that, we're done with the rough sketch for Sonic. But wait, we're not done yet. Since Sonic X Shadow Generations is coming very soon, I thought I'd teach you guys how to draw classic Sonic as well. Because if we're drawing one Sonic, why not draw both? And so we start with a circle, as any drawing should start. And with another circle for his whole torso, actually. Classic Sonic's a bit trickier to draw because there's less space to work with. But we'll get through it, don't worry. Again, we pull out two lines to indicate the legs and two lines to indicate the arms. But with classic Sonic, the arms and legs resemble more of a rubber hose aesthetic, since they don't get thicker at the end, like with modern. Now with the face, it's almost the same, just with a few changes. The muzzle shape stays the same, but his nose is a bit of an ellipse than the bean shape that is modern's. Remember how I said that the shape repeated itself through the designs? And the eye shape is even more like rounded than modern's, because classic's design is like 110% more round than modern's, but you get the point. And his ears are almost a perfect triangle, while moderns are a bit like longer. And now for the quills, that's another problem. They're supposed to be shorter, which they're almost the same size, but not really. Depends on what media you are currently referencing, because if you are searching for Sonic Mania Adventures, the quills are practically the same size. But if you're looking, say, Sonic Superstars, of course the top quill is a bit shorter and the bottom quill is a bit longer. You know the drill. But yeah, it depends really on your interpretation. I personally like to give him a little spike on the top. Like not a full-on quill, but a little spike. I just think it's cute. And his back quill is usually the length of his torso, but then again, Sonic Superstars and other renders contradict that. So this one is more up to interpretation, I guess. But on the last notes about Sonic's design is that his tail is a bit longer on Classic than on Modern, and this is a very important announcement. Do not forget the gold buckle. I always forget the gold buckle, but do not forget it. It's important. It's there. And his shoe looks very unbalanced without it, so do not forget it. But yeah, that should be it for my rough sketch, and on to line art. I don't really have much to say about line art because it's the usual procedure I do, so I'll just speed it forward. Now for solid colors on Modern. I really like to use very saturated colors on Modern because I remember about the Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 renders, and they have very, very bright colors, and I just love that aesthetic for him, so I just go for it. Though on his gloves, I do not like using pure white. I use almost something white, but not quite. Haha, that rhymed. That's very cool. But on the other hand, for Classic, I almost 100% use pastels, but not on his shoes. I don't know, man. Sonic's shoes shall always be bright and saturated on my drawings. There's nothing you can do about it. And for shading, I like to use on his blue fur, like some purples. Some very dark purples, because on Modern, the light purples I use for Classic shall not make a difference. But on his peach fur, on both designs, I almost 100% of the time use the same shade of like desaturated orange. This of course should be on another layer on top of the solid color layer. And on top of that, I like to use another layer for highlights with a lighter tone of the color that's underneath. And this is usually where I use most of my texture brushes because it looks nice. I think they make the characters pop a lot more, and I really like how it looks. So I just think they're neat, man. And with Sonic's shoes, the red part, I like to shade it with a bit of orange. It's a tonal shift, but I think it works a lot. And then sometimes I just add a little pop of white. And yeah, I think those are all my notes on shading, because it's really straightforward when you know the basics of shading, which I may do a video on that if you're interested, but it's to be known, okay? But hey, either way, look at that! You have finished Sonic and Classic Sonic in one page, in just one sitting. That wasn't that hard, was it? Who am I kidding? Drawing Sonic is very hard. It takes practice, so don't beat yourself if you don't get it at the first time as you want it. Just keep drawing and use reference. I always say that to anyone who asks, because using reference has helped me tremendously, and you have no idea how useful that is when angles are hard. So use reference, there's no shame in that. But yeah, I believe in you, soldier, you can do it! Of course, I just drew Sonic on this video because it took long enough, but if there's any character you would like me to explain my process on, pop it in the comments! I may do a part 2 on this video if there's enough suggestions, so let me know! But for now, I think I've said the word Sonic enough, so I'll leave you be. Thank you for watching! I have been Akari-san. See you on the next one. Bye bye!